Let's say we have these characters which have this attack where they swing toward the player with like their little sword attacks, and they always need to aim that at the player without overshooting going past the player. Your first initial response might be, well, something like a root motion animation where they move forward toward the player, and that is a good solution. But a part of the root motion issue would be that it can potentially then go past the player, which is part of the thing that we don't want it to do. Well, Unreal actually has a solution for that: motion warping. If you come up into your plugins and you look for motion warping, you will see a beta plugin. Well, as of the time of recording this is beta, so do be aware of that, but it works fairly well. So enable the plugin, restart the editor, and I will show you how it works. This is the attack animation that you saw the little robot guy do before. It has root motion. During its swing, it moves forward, and then between the swings, it stays a little bit more stationary, so we actually get it moving toward the player during the swing. But how do we aim this root motion to the player in the way that we saw before? Well, first we need to tell the motion warping plugin where the player is for us to be able to aim at it. Whatever character you're doing this on needs to have a motion warping component. If you have the plugin enabled, it's just as easy as adding it in as a component for, well, the motion warping components. Then next up, we need to get that motion warping component. In my case, I have a reference to the actor that is doing this state tray task, and from there, I get the motion warping component. If you're doing it on the character blueprint itself, like right here, you can just get your motion warping component from your components. So just get motion warping, and then at the bottom, you'll be able to get your reference to your components. And this one has a couple of different options, but they all come down to adding or updating a warp target from either a transform or a component. You can just give it in a transform, the location being the most important part, but it also comes with a rotation and a scale, and you give it a name. In this case, I'm saying, okay, the warp target name is going to be the player, and we get the target transform from just getting player pawn, and then I get transform. There's a little note that I made myself, but essentially it just is get actor transform, and that does the exact same thing. This one just spawns in automatically for me. And that will give the motion warping plugin the information that it needs to know to be able to direct the root motion instead of always going just in a forward direction, to then be adjusted toward whatever transform we give in here. We can alternatively also give in a component. So I'm still going to be calling the target name player, but instead of giving in a transform, we can give in the character's root components. And then it will be trying to hit that component instead. The upside of giving in a component is that it can follow the component. Whereas a transform is just, okay, this exact location, rotation, scale at this point in time. A component can also be a snapshot in time. The moment this node runs, if this is set to false, it will just take the transform of that component and essentially act the same way that this one does. But if we say follow component, it will actually keep updating its target location the entire time we're motion warping, because it's trying to get specifically to that component, even if that component is actively moving. We can give it a bit of a offset and location and rotation and all that kind of stuff, but this is how we set up a target for our motion warping to work toward. Then we play the animation montage, and there we move into the actual fun bit. Taking a real quick break here to say, if you're enjoying this or finding this helpful, a way that is entirely free for you to support me, if you don't want to sign up for the Patreon, is to go down below in the description to my Steam page for my own game and add it to your wishlist. Only takes a couple of seconds to do, but it actually does massively help me out and support me making my game and the content that comes along with it. So after we've made sure that this animation has root motion, which by the way you set up on the animation sequence itself, we set enable root motion, and in my case I set normalize root motion scale to false. If you've ever worked with root motion at all in the past, this should be self-explanatory. And I set up the motion warping itself in the montage. You could do it in here as well, but I tend to set up all my notifiers inside the montages so that I can reuse the same animation sequence for multiple different montages that might behave slightly differently. As you can see here, I have two different versions, one that is for a flying version and one that is for a grounded version. both work off of this animation sequence, but have slightly different notifies. So opening this up, we can ignore this track and the top track because those are just for the particle effects and the damage calculation for my game. But we have this motion warping notify states. You can just add that in by right-clicking, going to notify states and just typing motion, and you get motion warping. This will give you a notify state that will try to take the root motion as it is during this bit and make it move toward the target that you give into it. So we give it a warp target name. In this case, if I go to the one that I actually use in this animation montage, you can see it's going to try to warp the root motion to go toward the target that is named player, the target we set up in the code before. We can also set it to clamp at a certain speed ratio. By default, this is set to 0, and that just means that it's always going to use whatever root motion that it has to 100% get to the point that you give in as a target. Which sometimes is what you want, but maybe that's not what we want to do here, because we want the player to be able to dodge it and to get out of the way. So what we do here is I just say, hey, the same speed ratio as the original animation's root motion is what we're going to be maintaining here. So that way it doesn't actually move any further than I set up in the animation. I can also say, well, you're allowed to go about twice as far as your original root motion animation would let you. If I set this clamp ratio to, well, 2 or 5 or 10 or whatever. For the most part, I'm going to just be keeping this at 1, and I assume that for the most part, you probably will too. Then we can say we want to warp the translation because we want to move our actual root motion toward our target. We can say whether or not it uses the z-axis or not. So generally, a lot of root motion will just be on the ground, just two-dimensional. And that is where I have this different version for the flying one. This one ignores the z-axis. The one that is grounded will only do its motion warping in the x and y axis because it's already on the ground. It doesn't need to worry about the z. And if it does, it will try to move itself slightly into the ground sometimes, which is not ideal. So it's just going to be motion warping in the x and the y. This one is the one that's used by the character version that can fly. So this one actually needs to also move down in the z direction toward the player. And this situation is actually the very reason that I started experimenting with this plugin, because I needed to be able to have root motion that was aimable in 3D space directions. So also in the up and down direction. This 100% lets you do that. Warp to feed location just means that the target location isn't going to be the actual actor's location, but it's going to be the feed location. This mostly only seems to matter if you are using this on an actual character, because characters have this capsule collider where their actual origin point is in the middle, but they have this foot location at the very bottom. We can make it also adjust its rotation. In this case, I'm saying, yes, I wanted to update its rotation to be facing its target. We have a couple of rotation methods, and we can subtract the remaining root motion. And that's also quite interesting, because if we assume that the animation just kind of like ends here for the time being, if we say that the motion warping, for instance, only goes up to here, you can see in the preview that it actually highlights the bits of root motion that are going to get motion warped. If we say subtract remaining root motion, what it will do is it will warp this little bit of root motion in such a way that it's going to still have this root motion because that's not getting warped. But we want this to be where we actually reach our target rather than the end of our motion warping. If we don't subtract the remaining root motion, what it's going to do is it's going to take the end of our actual warping to be the point where it needs to be at its target. Now in this animation, that doesn't quite make sense to do, obviously, because we have 3 different sections of root motion, and if we were to subtract all the rest of the animation, everything would fall apart. But if you just have an animation with only 1 bit of root motion, and you want to warp, let's say, the first 60% of it, and then the last 40% you want to fall back on the just normal default root motion that you animated into the animation. Can do things like give a little bit of a window for players to be able to escape whatever homing attacks that this creates. That might be quite nice. But as you can realize now as well, I've got 3 different motion warping things here, all of which don't subtract the remaining root motion. Each one of these sections is going to be from here to here, you move to the player. and then we have a little bit of downtime. And from here to here, it again moves toward the player. As much as it's allowed to, because it's only allowed to move at a speed that is equal to the original root motion that I animated. And that creates both of these little guys, which will always root motion themselves toward me. And I believe these ones are actually set up to follow my character. If I end up like trying to escape, they will actually rotate toward me like that. And we will see if I now change all of these to being a ratio of 2. I set them to 10 just to real quick test a thing or two. But if we set these to a ratio of 2, the flying guy will now be able to move twice as far with every swing. So with this, we don't even need to go back in and change the animation that much if we want this to be more difficult, more dangerous, or whatever. We can just adjust this root motion warping to being whatever we want it to be and maintain the exact same timings. We just give it a little bit more room to move more quickly. And that, in a nutshell, is the basics of motion warping. It's a really, really powerful tool to be able to adjust your character's position through root motion animation with a lot more fine control for actually aiming with that root motion than will take it. And a very big thank you to all my Patreons. You can see them on screen right now. If you want to help support the channel or get any of the project files in any of my tutorials, there's a link down below to the Patreon page to support me, or alternatively as a YouTube member. My Cave Students tier supporters, Oiku, Earl, Monseville Urno, and my Cave Digger tier supporters, Mauricio Farias and Chang the Dude.